Today's lesson is a trip to the supermarket. Hi, everybody. My name is Roger.
And I'm Helen.
And today we're going back to the supermarket again. Sometimes if we talk about going to a supermarket or a restaurant or whatever, it might make our dear students hungry. Well, you're going to have to contain yourselves because you can't go eat something until we're done with our lesson for today. And again, we're going to be talking about taking a trip to the supermarket. Now, last time Judy was asking for assistance. The clerk was helpful, even though the clerk didn't really know if they had those pasta-making machines. And then also last time, Rick was trying some free samples, and he decided to buy some fish fillets and tartar sauce.
Yes, and today we're going to look at two situations in the supermarket when you've already chosen the stuff you want to buy. One is checking out, when you're ready to pay for the items you want to buy. And another one is returning an item. That's when you decided you don't want something that you already paid for.
Exactly. So, yeah, checking out is the first conversation here. We've got Judy talking to the cashier, and we'll find out what happens when you check out at the supermarket. Let's listen.
3. Checking out. The cashier has just finished scanning Judy's items.
Your total comes to 1,970 NT dollars. Would you like to pay by cash or card?
By credit card, thanks.
And do you need any plastic bags for your groceries today?
No, thank you. I brought my own reusable ones.
Excellent. And would you prefer a paper or digital receipt?
A digital one, thanks. Here's my barcode.
Great, thank you. Just place your credit card on the reader.
Judy does so, and the two wait for the transaction to be processed.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.
大家好，第一部分我们看到形容词 reusable， 意思是可再利用的或是可重复使用的，像是 It is better to use reusable items and not one-use items. 使用可重复使用的物品比一次性使用的好。另外补充这个字的动词 reuse， R-E-U-S-E reuse， 指重新使用或是重复利用。举例来说 Fossil fuels not only cause pollution, but also have no way of being reused. 化石燃料不但会造成污染，而且无法重新使用。或者 Eddie and his wife reuse their old plastic buckets as pots in which to grow plants. Eddie 和他太太重新利用他们的旧水桶，把它当作盆栽来种植植物。接下来我们看到名词 transaction， 指交易或是业务。例如 John checked his receipt after making a transaction at the bank. John 在银行完成交易后，确认他的收据。或是All the transactions I made at the hotel were recorded on the receipt. 我在旅馆做的所有交易都记录在这张收据上。另外补充这个字的动词 transact， 指交易或是办理业务。我们可以说 The startup company only transacts its business online. 那家新创公司只做网络交易。或是 With the wide availability of the internet,Many people transact online now. 由于网络的广泛普及，许多人现在都在线上交易了。
So in this conversation, which is titled Checking Out, the cashier has just finished scanning Judy's items. So a cashier is someone whose job is to receive or to give money in a shop or a bank. You can also have a bank cashier. But here we have a supermarket cashier who has finished scanning Judy's items. When you scan something, you're using a machine or a computer program that examines that thing in order to look for information about it. So when you're scanning a product in the supermarket, you're looking for the price and the specific codes, the identity of that product for sale.
And of course, when the machine registers it, it goes beep, and the cashier has finished scanning Judy's items. And then the cashier tells Judy the total. Your total comes to 1,970 NT dollars. Would you like to pay by cash or card? And, of course, there are different ways to pay. Nowadays, of course, I think you can use your phone to pay as well. They may ask you if you use line pay or what other options there are.
Yes, and Judy replies, by credit card, thanks. And the cashier says, and do you need any plastic bags for your groceries today? And here the word groceries is a plural noun, so it's always in the plural form. You would say groceries, and it refers to food and other goods for the home. So some people shop for groceries on weekends. They do it once a week. And in this case, the cashier is asking Judy if she needs plastic bags for her groceries.
Groceries are basically food items that you buy in a supermarket. And Judy says, well, no, I don't need any plastic bags for my groceries today. I brought my own reusable ones. If something's reusable, you can use it again and again. I try to remember this myself to bring along plastic bags when I buy things from a store, but not everybody does that. It's just something that you need to remember to do. Do you bring your own reusable bags with you every day, Helen?
I don't every day. Sometimes I do. When I know that I'm going to a grocery store, I will bring reusable bags. But sometimes I remember last minute that I need to buy something. And in those cases, I just try to stick everything in the bag that I have, in my backpack, for instance.
Some people do it that way again. But of course, plastic bags can be useful and helpful if you buy groceries in a grocery store here. And yes, she brought her own bags. They're reusable. The cashier says, excellent, that's great, that's fantastic, that's wonderful. And would you prefer a paper or digital receipt? So, of course, when you purchase things, they will give you a receipt. It lists all the items that you bought and what you paid for them, so that in the future, if you ever need to return items or if you're doing your own budgeting or accounting at home, that receipt will come in handy. And now in the digital age, you can get a digital receipt or a paper receipt. I know a lot of people get those digital receipts on their phones, but I don't do that because I think it takes too much time.
Yes, well, sometimes when I order food from Food Panda, I will receive the receipt via email. So in that case, it's also considered a digital receipt. It's pretty convenient because then I have all the receipts saved in my email and I don't have to look for them when I'm looking for receipts. I don't have to look for the piece of paper.
Paper receipts, of course, waste paper as well, so maybe I should start using digital receipts in the future. Well, Judy would like a digital receipt. So she says, a digital one, thanks. A digital receipt, please. And she produces her phone and open app. That's what you need to do. You need to tap on your screen to open an application, and then a barcode will show on the screen. The clerk will scan that code.
Right. Now here the word app is short for application, and an application is a piece of computer software that's designed to do a particular job. So apps are usually used to refer to those programs, the software that is used on a smartphone.
So again, she presents her barcode after opening the app. The cashier says, "Great, thank you." And then the cashier says, just place your credit card on the reader. Okay, and we all know what that means. You just take your card and place it there on the reader. It's a special device that will read the strip on your card and it will register your purchase.
Yes, and Judy does so. So she places the card on the reader and the two wait for the transaction to be processed. So the transaction is the act or the process of buying or selling something. So whenever you have two people or you have a person and a company that is taking part in the act of buying or selling something, you have a transaction.
Right, and that's the transaction that's going on there. Of course, Judy has purchased all these items. All the items have been scanned, and she has placed the credit card on the reader, so the transaction has been processed. The cashier says, "Wonderful, thank you so much. Have a nice day." So I must say that that is a very polite cashier. Some cashiers are kind of rude, but of course, customers sometimes can be rude as well. Okay, that brings us to the midway point in our lesson for today. Now we're going to be returning an item. Let's find out what happens when Rick comes back to the supermarket to return something.
4. Returning an item. Rick approaches the returns counter at the supermarket.
Excuse me, I'd like to return this box of cereal. I didn't realize how much added sugar it had until my wife pointed it out when I got home. That's not a problem at all. Do you have the receipt? Yes, hang on a second. Thank you very much. Wait there for one moment while I get your refund. Here you are, sir. Thank you very much.
第二部分我们看到单字 refund， 这个字是名词，指退款或是返还金额。例如 We do not offer refunds on this type of item. 这款产品我们不接受退款。或是 If you're not satisfied with the product, take it back to the store and get a refund. 如果你不满意这项产品的话，把它带回店里并要求退款。另外，这个字也可以当作动词。当动词时念作 refund， 意思是退还或是退款。我们可以说 When Karen complained about her meal, the restaurant offered to refund her money. Karen 抱怨她的餐点时，这家餐厅提议退款。也可以说 The restaurant manager apologized and refunded the customers. 餐厅经理道歉并退款给客人。最后我们看到单字 register， 这个字是名词，指收银机。像是 One of the first things that Hector learned at his new job was how to work the register. Hector 在他的新工作中首先学到的事情之一就是如何使用收银机。或是 One of the cash registers in the store is broken. 商店里的其中一台收银机坏了。另外 register 当动词用时有注册或是登记的意思。举例来说 You need to register first before you can read all of the articles on the website. 你需要先注册才能阅读这个网站上所有的文章。或者 New students must register before the beginning of the semester. 新生必须在学期开始之前注册。
Okay, let's move on now to part 4. We are returning an item. This does happen sometimes when you find out you bought the wrong product or there's something wrong with it and you would like to return it or exchange it for something else. And in this conversation between Rick and the clerk, Rick approaches the returns counter at the supermarket. Now, we've got various kinds of counters in a supermarket. You've got the checkout counter, which is where you go to pay for your items. And in this case, we're going to the returns counter, which is a counter or an area that handles returns.
That's right. So the word counter here basically refers to a flat surface. So you can also have a kitchen counter, which is the flat surface that you prepare food and cook on. So a counter is basically a flat surface, and sometimes there are people behind the counter that help you. And Rick, approaching the returns counter at the supermarket, says, "Excuse me, I'd like to return this box of cereal. I didn't realize how much added sugar it had until my wife pointed it out when I got home."
Okay, so he bought a box of cereal, which, of course, is something you have for breakfast in the morning. It is a box that contains dried grains in it with added ingredients. There are different kinds of cereal, corn flakes and honeycomb and stuff like that. Sugar Smacks, those are some brands of cereal, at least in the United States. Cheerios, Wheaties, or whatever. And he would like to return a box of cereal. He says, "I didn't realize how much added sugar it had, and then my wife saw the label and pointed it out. Look here, honey, this cereal has lots of added sugar in it, and that's not good. We don't want to have so much sugar in our diet. It could cause problems, it could make you fat, and it could give you diabetes."
And the clerk clerk says, "That's not a problem at all. Do you have the receipt?" So the clerk is saying that in order for Rick to be able to receive a refund, he needs to present a receipt. A receipt is a piece of paper that you get when you purchase something, when you buy something. It's a piece of paper that shows how much you paid and the date on which you bought that item.
And Rick has the receipt. He says, yes, hang on a second. Please wait a second. Please wait a moment. And, of course, he put the receipt in his wallet, so he needs to dig through his wallet. Oh, there's a credit card. There's some bills. There's some other name cards and stuff like that. Ah, here it is. Here's the receipt. And he produces the receipt and gives it to the clerk so that the clerk can check it to verify that he did indeed buy that box of cereal before. The clerk says, "Thank you very much. Wait here for one moment while I get your refund." So the clerk takes a look at the receipt and confirms that indeed Rick did buy a box of cereal. So they can go ahead and return his money. He says, "Wait here while I get your refund." A refund, of course, is money you get back for something that you've returned.
That's right. So the clerk is going to give Rick his refund. In other words, the clerk is going to refund Rick's money, the money that he paid. But before he does that, the clerk enters some information on the computer. So the clerk is probably putting in the amount that needs to be refunded. And then the register opens and he takes out some cash. So the register here refers to the cash register. And a cash register is a machine that contains coins and notes, money basically, that also shows the price that is paid for an item.
Exactly. So they've checked his receipts and the clerk is going to get his refund. The register opens, ka-king, and he takes out some cash. The clerk takes out some cash and says, "Here you are, sir." And Rick says, "Thank you very much." So it looks like the refund has been done. And Rick can now use the money to buy something else. Maybe he'll be a smart shopper this time and check the label to make sure that the cereal he buys in the future does not contain so much added sugar. Okay, that brings us to the end of our lesson for today. It's time now to turn things over to our Chinese teacher.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们来看今天的文法重点。在第一部分的对话里面，收银员刚扫描完 Judy 的商品，他对 Judy 说， Your total comes to $1,970 NT. 你的总额一共是新台币1970元。那这边句子里面它用到 come to 来表达合计为什么，总计为多少，之后是接数字，那通常会接金额的总数。那我们就顺便来补充 come to 加上名词的其他用法。第一种是表达达成、来到，那在 come to 后面接名词就可以表达出达到某个结果啊，或是状态的意思。像 come to an agreement 达成协议， come to an end 表示结束、告终或者是进入尾声。好，那么第二个呢，我们可以用 come to 加名词去表达发生、降临的语义。那这时候呢，我们会用 something comes to somebody 去表达某事发生在某人身上，降临在某人身上。举例来说， I believe that good things will come to us eventually. 我相信好事最终会降临在我们身上的。那么另外 something comes to somebody 也可以用来表达某人想到或者是记起某事。像假设说 An idea just came to me. 我刚刚突然想到一个点子。好，那么对话里面的 Judy 她决定要刷卡，并且使用电子发票，店员就请她把信用卡放在读卡机上面，等待交易处理完成。文中用到 transaction 来表达交易，那它是来自动词 transact T-R-A-N-S-A-C-T。 我们来学习它的字首字根。好，首先看到 A-C-T 或者是 ag 或者是 ig 这一类的字根呢，就带有行动、驱使、付诸行动或是起作用的意思。其中的这个 act 啊，它到了15、16世纪开始用在剧场和议会议院当中，分别表示表演和法令的意思。那么在 transact 这个字当中，它的字首 trans 有 through 就是透过的意思，然后 act 表示行动，合在一起 transaction 它就是有办理、处理或者是交易买卖的意思哦。我们顺便来补充几个有这一类字根的单字。第一个是 react， 它的字首 re 表示回复，字根 act 表示起作用，那么合在一起 react 就表示反应、回应或者是起化学反应。那么第二个 activate， 它的字根 act 表示行动，那么 ive 是形容词字尾，不过后面因为它还要再接上 ate， 所以这个 ive 的 e 就先被省略咯。然后 ate 是动词字尾，它就有使点点点的意思，组合在一起 activate 它的字根字尾表面的语义就是使点点点行动，那应该就可以联想到 activate 它有启动、活化或是使什么活动活跃的意思。好，那第三个补充的是 navigate， 它的字首 nav 有船的意思，字根 ig 表示行动，那么 ate 是动词字尾，合在一起 navigate 它就有航行、导航的意思咯。那么以上是今天重点整理，我们回顾今天的单字吧。
Grocery. Miranda took her car to the supermarket because she had a lot of groceries to buy. Digital. This program lets you edit your digital photographs. Receipt. Keep your receipt in case you want to return any items. App. This app allows you to monitor your daily exercise. Counter. After the flight was canceled, many people approached the counter at the airport. Refund. In order to get a refund, you must keep the tags on the clothes. Register. Anna took some money out of the register and gave it to the store manager.
Well, everyone, today's article has come to an end, and I sure hope you enjoyed reading along with us. I am Roger.
I'm Helen.
See you next time.